Hey everybody, welcome back to Girl Talk. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, before we get started, if you could give me a like, share, thumbs up, comment, all that other good stuff, I would appreciate it. So we're going to get right into the Lindsay Clancy trial, and we are on day 20 already. Yesterday was a weird day. They didn't start until late, and they didn't end until after 7 last night, so which is why we had to wait until this morning until the recap went up. So we will get right into this. So the witness number one was Dr. Kirk Heilbrunn, called by the Commonwealth, and the direct examination was from the Commonwealth. Defines peritraumatic dissociation. Defendant reported detachment, feeling not her, watching herself, no thinking. Decisions required: location, order, statements, method, instrument. 2 explanations considered: psychosis versus suicide with altruistic filicide. Evidence supported suicide with altruistic filicide. Interview day differences: first 2 days attentive, third day guarded. Smartwatch memory lapse. Horrified note: the defendant did not recall. Inconsistent statements regarding voice content. Phone call timing significance: 5:33 to 5:34 p.m. Future-oriented comments in hospital records. Diagnosis was bipolar 2 disorder, depressive symptoms, sleep problems, adverse medication reaction. Awareness of illegality retained. Capacity conform retained. Opinion criminally responsible. The exhibits referenced was a PowerPoint identification, and then Dr. Kirk Heilbrunn was called by the defense. So the cross got a defense. Billing estimate was $54,000. Received materials from Dr. Resnick, Dr. Margaret Spinelli, and Dr. Paul Ziesel. Postpartum psychosis experience from 1982 group therapy. CV reviewed extensively: forensic work, juvenile assessment, violence risk, FBI consulting. No postpartum psychosis publications except 1977 schizophrenia article. The evaluation occurred over 3 years after offense. 10.5 hours of interviews over 3 days. The defendant was cooperative. Breaks were offered. They talked about parenting habits, anxiety of leaving the children, the exercise patterns of Lindsay: 4 a.m. runs, Peloton exercise class, and a road race. Cleaning online scam activity, possible mania indicators, bipolar 2 diagnosis, adverse medication reactions from October through January, intrusive thoughts, fear others could read thoughts, told Dr. Heilbrunn and Dr. Mack and also Patrick. Dissociation consistent with peritraumatic dissociation. Memory inaccuracies noted. Postpartum timing unlikely per DSM-5 from the Cleveland Clinic. Acute psychosis considered but not primary. Defendant was truthful about December intrusive thoughts. Confirms no postpartum psychosis publications. No exhibits were referenced. Witness 2 called by the Commonwealth was Dr. Gregory Sathoff. I hope I'm saying that right. This was a long direct examination from the Commonwealth. So here we go. Dr. Gregory here is a behavior analysis unit psychiatrist, threat assessment, national security, forensic psychiatrist role, testified 40 to 45 times. He is not board certified. Extensive forensic training through UVA and Institute for Law, Psychiatry, and Public Policy. Prison system work since 1992, treated 5 to 7 women who killed children. Therapy groups for severely mentally ill inmates. Thousands treated with psychosis. State hospital work for 15 years. In 1987, bromocriptine postpartum psychosis article, and the FDA later removed that drug. Defined psychosis as hallucinations, delusions, disorganized thoughts. Psychosis is a symptom, not a diagnosis. Serious mental illness versus any mental illness was explained. The evaluation was requested by the DA, payment routed through UVA. Reviewed extensive records, medical, psychiatric, emergency room, McLean, Tewksbury, videos, pharmacy, and police. 2 Zoom interviews were 6.5 hours plus 5 hours. Zoom limitations and benefits described. Collateral interview with Patrick. Defendant's accounts of command hallucinations, such as the voice telling her, quote unquote, "This is your last chance. You have to kill your kids and then kill yourself." Different times reported to different evaluators. Voice external, constant repeating, stopping immediately after the killings. Unusual features. First ever hallucination, constant voice, abrupt cessation, no accompanying delusions. The fear of losing children was rational, not delusional. No delusional statements found. Immediate action on voice atypical. And the chicken nugget timing discrepancy noted. The exhibits referenced were crime scene photographs, which was a bowl on a couch. And then the exhibits were identification. It was a PowerPoint link to Dr. Kirk Heilbronn, and crime scene photographs, bowl on the couch, linked to Dr. Gregory Sathoff. The end of the day admin. No next day schedule stated, no outstanding motions, no jury instructions stated, and they adjourned at 7:07 p.m. So just a few comments that the public has stated. So it says, Sathoff has been the best witness for the Commonwealth. He's not Resnick, but I wonder if anyone on the jury knows just how impressive and important of a witness Resnick truly is. I'm ready for Red's Cross of Sathoff. And then someone under that said, questionable about Best. I found him both ridiculous and manipulative. And then they replied, well, the bar was already quite low. The Commonwealth has done a miserable job, in my opinion, and this case has so much reasonable doubt. And then someone had commented commented about the chicken nuggets. So it said, chicken nugget timing discrepancy noted. Can someone explain this for me? I didn't know what this was either. It said, see the notes discrepancy between Lindsay's and Patrick's accounts. Patrick testified Dawson was already eating chicken nuggets when he left. Lindsay told Seda she was getting / preparing chicken nuggets when the alleged command voice began. Crime scene photos showed a bowl showing chicken nuggets or proof they had been served. It also is a different instance when Lindsay said she heard command voices. I'm just looking to see if just different things that people are saying, because I don't know. I'm still reading a lot of this isn't as divided as people think. I'll keep it like that because I do want to keep my comments to myself until this is over. But here's another one. If we take what we've heard, that Lindsay had quote unquote loud and intrusive thoughts for weeks to months leading up to the murders that were telling her to kill herself because her brain was damaged, and that they became so loud that she asked her mom if she could hear her thoughts. Could we not reasonably say that up until that night she had been experiencing and hearing these thoughts, but was able to resist acting on them until they became so loud, persistent, and commanding that night that she felt she could no longer ignore them? So this wasn't a case of acting on one command, but actually ignoring all the others. Examples: thoughts of killing herself and harming the kids until she just couldn't anymore. And here's another one. I think it was just a way for the Commonwealth to plant a visual in the jurors' minds. The truth, as horrible as it is that the older kids were probably very willingly went along to the basement with their mom. Children trust and love their moms unquestionably. They probably had no idea what was happening, in that their innocent minds would never think mommy is trying to kill me and fight back. It's likely they felt no pain, just pressure before passing out. I'm not trying to minimize this at all, but it's like that game that middle schoolers played when they would squeeze their friends' necks until they passed out. It's heartbreaking, but it fits with Dr. LaPosada testifying that all it took was 5 to 15 seconds of the exercise bands for them to lose consciousness. And I'm just going to read two more to you. I'm still stuck on the high levels of Seroquel. Not toxic, yes, I understand, but those are high levels, and she wasn't regularly taking it anymore. I had a family member take a fraction of what was in her system regularly, and it was almost impossible to wake them up. They also heard voices right as they were getting so sleepy they were falling asleep. If you look it up, my family member is not alone in that. And then another comment: this last witness is really coming off as someone who mostly works with inmates who has already been convicted of crimes. That's definitely how he approached Lindsay. He was given this case and is focusing on inconsistencies in the recollection of one severely mentally ill person and one severely traumatized person 3.5 years after the fact, to infer Lindsay is a liar and a manipulator. She posted pictures on Instagram. is too much work and too difficult to crush up pills without a mortar and pestle. Patrick said he didn't remember there being lemonade in the house. And they said, yeah, he comes off like a copy. He worked with 5 to 7 women who killed their kids, and they were all incarcerated. Someone else said, difficult to crush up pills was absurd. It's easy. At that point, I struggled to take him seriously. Another person said his explanation about Patrick's errands were such a reach that she added CVS to extend the trip as if their daughter wasn't just at the doctor and needed that medication. He asked that she fabricated some ridiculous story to get him out of the house, ordering a carry out from a place 11 minutes away, and looking at the distance is not unusual. I do that all the time when I send my husband out for carry out. Oh, and by the way, a stop at CVS on the way since you'll be out. That fact that this can be easily disputed and is a reasonable set of events should not carry this much weight. I was just looking to see what others are saying. And here's the last one that we'll go over. The prosecution has to prove that Lindsay could, quote unquote, appreciate the wrongfulness of her actions or conform her actions to the rule of law. The burden is on them in Massachusetts. Their own witness yesterday said he believes psychosis was one possibility and that altruistic filicide was a reasonable fit. They are putting so much emphasis on did she hear a voice or not, that they are forgetting that delusions can also render her unable to appreciate the wrongfulness of her actions. If she truly believed that she was brain damaged, was worried that others could hear her thoughts, believed that her children should die, believed that her children were not safe, then she is clearly in a delusional state. She believed that what she was doing was right, a fixed false belief. So it truly does not matter if she heard a voice at all, when it started or when it stopped. And then there is the problem with Patrick being the sole historian in this case. Very interesting. So I'm wondering if I don't know, I wonder if it's going to wrap up this week. I guess we'll see, right? And I thought this will be the last one, I promise. This was actually a really good comment because most of us were not medical people. So it says, as a non-medical person who has spoken to non-medical people who feel the same, any expert that is saying that an adult person asking if other people can hear your thoughts is not at least somewhat delusional is losing credibility. Maybe there is a very good technical and psychological debate that a bunch of psych experts could do a roundtable on for exactly what term this symptom should have. But I don't think that is something that works in front of a jury of 12 to 18 people who are all basically resting back on the notion of, quote unquote, if my relative asks me that, I'm thinking they're losing their mind. I think the line between intrusive thoughts and hallucinations, especially visual ones, can be very muddy, and that's why the lack of clear contemporaneous documentation by her providers as to how Lindsay was describing what she was seeing and hearing in those thoughts at that time is a very frustrating omission to me. They just documented intrusive thoughts rather than something like thinking of aftermath of car crash or seeing aftermath of car crash or seeing aftermath of car crash or thinking screams of pain versus hearing screaming. Patrick's memory of her sitting on the couch, rocking with her head buried in her pillow, makes me think she was having more than just thoughts at a certain point. And then it says, yes, especially after hearing that Dr. Resnick's new research indicates that auditory hallucinations can be external and internal. I have had intrusive thoughts after giving birth 9 years ago and never thought people could hear them. And they said exactly, and that's why she needed a skilled therapist to sit down with her and properly listen and explore them with her to make a thorough assessment when she shared she had intrusive thoughts. I don't know, guys. I think we're down to the wire here. Like I said, different opinions. I don't know how this is going to go. I have a feeling how it's going to go, but um, once we get a verdict, I will let my thoughts known, and we'll see what they say. All right, thanks for joining me. That was day 20, and depending how late they go tonight, we might get it up tonight. It might be tomorrow morning. Not sure, but have a great day, and we will talk soon. All right, bye, guys.